Hey, look, man, let me tell y'all something, man. Mike Tyson don't need to be doing no more fighting no more. Okay? He needs to just make special appearances. We see him do some work on the pads and all of that. But this is it. That's all. Before the fight, I told my homie, I'm going to say this, though. I'm glad Mike didn't get knocked out. Because I told my homie Melvin, I'm afraid Mike going to get hurt really, really bad in this fight. And I know for nostalgic purposes, everybody loved Iron Mike Tyson. Everybody was in love with Kid Dynamo, the youngest heavyweight champion ever at 20 years old, right? Everybody remembers them fantastic times when Mike was in his heyday. But I told y'all, do y'all remember what Mike Tyson looked like at 38 years old? When he fought Kevin McBride and Danny Williams and all of them. What's dude Danny Williams? Yeah, you remember what he looked like? He looked terrible in them fights. And I know some of y'all gonna say, well, Mike was on drugs and he had a lot of issues in his life, a lot of turmoil, and he was focused now and all this and all of that. Y'all, I've been watching boxing for a long, long time, okay? Sometimes I gotta stop myself from being a boxing snob because I don't watch these exhibition fights. I don't. Floyd Mayweather was one of my favorite fighters all time. I don't watch none of his exhibition fights. I have not seen not one. I will refuse to even have a fight party for any of these exhibition fights. But I say, you know what? Let me tune in to Mike Tyson, man. But yeah, man, like, I knew this. As great as Mike looked on pads, I know pads don't hit back. Again, I remember how he looked at the very end of his career at 38 years old. He didn't look good at all. And while he looked good physically, he looked in shape physically, I knew Jake Paul had been in the ring much more like he was much fresher in the ring. And youth was on his side. He's 27 years old, y'all. And I'm gonna say this for whatever it is worth, Jake ain't fighting no real boxers for real. But he's improved in fights that I've seen, like little clips I've seen of him fighting, because I don't watch these exhibition fights, but in the clips and stuff that I've seen from his previous fights, he looked like he's improved in fights as time has went on. And I'm like, man, he's been in the ring more recent than Mike. Like, when I say more recent, I know Mike did that little thing with Roy Jones and all of that, but Jake has been fighting consistently, way more consistently than Mike. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, I'm looking at the fight. Mike's legs looked old. He looked tired. Did y'all see how long he sat on the stool before the bell of the 8th round? Mike wasn't ready to go. Mike said, shit, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go. Mike ready to go pop some mushrooms, smoke some weed, go to bed, and count all that bread he got, right? You know, I guess it's a win. It's a win for Mike. Well, Mike did made, 20-something million off of this fight and didn't get knocked out or nothing, and he tired himself out, but it's all good. But he don't need to be doing none of these fights, because the world, and I saw how people was talking on Facebook, they're expecting Iron Mike Tyson to show up. Iron Mike Tyson is long gone. Like, again, I don't get fooled by people looking good on pads, because I just know Mike he's almost 60 years old, y'all. You need to just be sitting back and relaxing. But I can tell how the crowd was booing. They were expecting a whole lot more. Mike was done by round 3. By round 3, Mike was shot. And I can't blame him, man. He's almost 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? This is like watching Ric Flair, wrestle at the very end of his career. Remember when Rick had his shirt on a couple years ago trying to wrestle? Like, no, man. No, man, he don't need to be doing this no more unless he's fighting against somebody else that's old. Let him go in there and go fight somebody else old. Him and Evander go do it for old time's sake. He'll whoop Evander. And I love Evander Holyfield. Evander is more of my favorite. I'm more of in the heavyweight division, I was more of a fan of Evander than Mike. You know what I'm saying? Even though Mike was Kid Dynamo, he was electric. Mike had the streets on lock. Way more than Evander ever did, but Evander accomplished more, in my opinion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm going to say this. I feel like Evander had a better career in a lot of aspects. Evander took a lot of losses at the end of his career, but I don't know, Evander fought. I'm going to say Evander fought everybody. Everybody there was to fight. And Mike fought too, but he whooped Mike twice. You know what I mean? And all y'all gonna talk about, the jail. He would have never went to jail. Man, listen. Mike was winning. He was already champion by the time he got to Evander after getting out of jail. And quiet as kept, they was already they had sparred previously, coming up, I believe. Him and Mike, Evander did. And Evander always had Mike number. Sometimes fighters always got, some fighters always just got your number, regardless. You feel me? Vernon Forrest and Sugar Shane Mosley, you know what I mean? It happens. But anyway, yeah, man, I'm looking at Mike and the crowd is booing and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, they was expecting Iron Mike to show up. Iron Mike, the days of Iron Mike is over with. You know, it's fun. It was exciting to see Mike come out and everybody clap for him and all of that to get that old school feel. But that's about as old school as it's gonna get from Mike. You know, Mike can give you some little flurries and flushes at the beginning in the early stages of the first round. Or first round, that's when he looked the best in the first round, as predicted. You know, as the fight went on, he was on bad legs. And even Roy Jones, them commentating like, yeah, man, I don't like how Mike legs looking. I don't like how he looking. And I'm going to say this too. Netflix got to fix this issue. Either don't do no live streaming, no fight no more. Don't do this live viewing of a fight no more. Don't do that no more. Or they got to fix it. Because like Netflix was freezing like a mug all on here. I was watching the fight on TikTok. It was freezing so goddamn bad. I'm like, bro, what is we doing? What is we doing out here? Like it didn't look good at all. But again, it wasn't not saying it didn't look good. It was not. I couldn't see nothing. I had to go watch it on TikTok, and TikTok kept me in good faith. I heard Antonio Brown was looking out for brothers too, recording the fight on the Jumbotron while he was in the arena and all of that too. But yeah, man. Again, it's a win that Mike didn't get knocked out. His chin is a lot better than I thought because he got hit with some shots from Jake Paul. But yeah, I'm assuming Jake won by unanimous decision. I didn't even sit around to see what the scorecard was or, you know, what the decision was and none of that because it was clear as day that if Jake Paul didn't win by unanimous decision, it was over with. But I guess is it no winners and losers in these exhibition? It is. What the hell am I talking about? It is. But yeah, man, it didn't look good. And again, I saw this coming because of how bad he looked toward the end of his career. And I know as you get older, you don't look better as you get older as a fighter. There's only certain guys, like people talked about George Foreman and all of that. George Foreman retired first, I believe, at 28 years old, came back at 38. How old was Big George when he won that title? When he knocked out Michael Moore with that jab for the heavyweight championship? Was he 45? How old was Big George? 43, 45, 42? How old was Big George, man? I'm trying to remember how old. He was in his 40s, though. Knocked Michael Moore out with a jab. But, yeah, man. But, again, George Foreman was in his 40s. Mike is damn near 60 years old and hadn't been fighting at all. George had been fighting. He was fresh. I'm not fresh, but, you know, he was consistently in the ring. Like, he was active. He was active is the word I'm looking for. He's active. Mike ain't been active for real. Mike be getting high like I'm talking about higher than giraffe vagina. Like, you know, so always doing these edibles and mushrooms and all that, which relaxes him. So yeah, he ain't in that state to be in warfare like that no more, man. And y'all don't get tricked. I know Mike Tyson's persona, the way he talks, the way, you know, how he delivers it, people are enamored with him, you know? My bad, y'all, my neck cracked. But people are enamored with Mike, and it's hard not to be. When you look at the warrior that he was in the ring, when you looked at his accomplishments and all of that, right? When you looked at his knockouts, he has some extremely vicious, ferocious knockouts. You know what I mean? My style is impetuous. What do you say? I'm impregnable. I'm just ferocious. I want to eat your children. Praise be to Allah. Right? Well, Mike did all that. I'm from Jack Dempsey. I'm from Ned Clough. Sonny listed Jack Dempsey. I'm from Ned Clough. He said, he's no Lennox, he's Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm Alexander. Lennox, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Lennox. Oh, Lennox went up in there whooping on Mike like an African drum, boy. Shit. But anyway, yeah. Mike was in there getting beat to sleep against Lennox. Lennox was throwing them hammers on Mike's head, boy. Anyway, shout out to Mike, man. Mike, he made a lot of money, continues to drive in wealth for his family. I remember when Mike was in financial trouble. So all jokes aside, man, I'm glad that Mike is able to bring in bank. He's still able to monetize off of his name heavily, which is a blessing. You know, it's been so many great fighters in boxing, and fans only remember Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. More people remember George Foreman for selling grills than him being an outstanding heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? Like, I love this sport so much that, like, it's warriors out here that people will never know their names. But Mike is a warrior that people will never forget. People are still in awe of him. You feel me? Like, he is a god to some people. You feel me? You know? Lowercase G on that guy. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So, people are still... I promise you, Mike probably could fight tomorrow. Some people still gonna watch. You know? And, but he don't need to be fighting no more unless he fighting somebody real old. At first, I say he don't need to fight at all, but unless he fighting somebody his age or something, don't be trying to fight no 27, 32-year-olds and stuff. No, man. No. As far as Jake Paul, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to get Deontay Wilder in the ring with him right now. I don't know. He might try to sneak up on Deontay because Deontay is way past his prime now. Deontay then got stopped recently. I don't know, but yeah, I don't want to see Deontay lose to no goddamn. Deontay was my guy, you know, because he was the only American in the mix in the heavyweight division. And he was the first heavyweight champion that we had since, was it Shannon Briggs before Deontay at the time? So, yeah, man, but I don't want to see Deontay getting whooped on by no goddamn YouTuber. Not the Bronze Bomber. Hell no, man. But Jake might try to catch Deontay now because Deontay older and he's not as vicious as he used to be at this point. You know, he didn't went through that ayahuasca and all of that. And yeah, Deontay don't got that same killer instinct, that same killer up in him that he used to have before. You know what I mean? And he's past it now from them wars from Tyson Fury and stuff. But anyway, man, yeah. Shout out to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson. Shout out to Mike Tyson. You know, I holla at you, Jake Paul. But you know, y'all got y'all bread, but Mike don't need to be doing this against no young boys no more.